Arani manthane jatu yo virantum na cheshtate sa eva labate vahnim evam siddherapi pratha. What does this mean, Amma?
This Subhashita is about fire and perseverance. Arani, sticks, manthane, rubbing, jatu, never, yo, those, na virantum, without a break, cheshtate, keep attempting, sa eva, they only, labhate, obtain, vahnim, fire, evam, this, siddherapi, among the achievers, pratha is the order. The translation: those who keep on rubbing the fire sticks without a break are the ones who eventually get the fire. Perseverance is the order among achievers.
In today's episode, we are joined by Uma Aunty from Mysore.
Very happy to join you people. Many times I said, I will not do it today. But she said, no, you can do it. It's exactly like King Solomon's story, like that spider. Many times it goes and up and down, up and down. Then the King Solomon got inspiration. If a small insect like spider can do it, why can't I do it? So he gets encouragement from that little episode. Though I'm not a King Solomon, I'm feeling as though like him only and have joined these people. Perseverance is very, very important. Even if it's a small effort also, you should try and start getting it. When they light the fire for Homa, how many times they rub that wooden piece? By the friction of that, after a few minutes, you'll get the light from that dry wooden sticks. Like that, maybe one day I will also get very good enlightenment.
Since this Subhashita speaks about fire, I did a little research about fire. Fire has always been there on the planet. In our ancient scriptures, it's even considered as one of the natural elements. So there is nothing like man discovered fire. He has always seen bushfires, forest fires, etc. It's how he began to control fires. He had always been watching these fires from a distance. Animals and plants were getting charred. And after these fires went off, he had tasted this or killed the animals who were half burnt in the fire and running away and tasted them. That is how he began to realize that fire can be helpful in creating better food and began to think about controlling fire. It is estimated, because there is no historical evidence, that man began controlling fire about 50,000 years ago. But the documented evidence that man controlled fire has been about 7,000 years back, where archaeologists have found certain axes in the area of France and Spain. They have found that axes were being hit on pyrite, which is one form of iron ore. And they have presumed that by hitting the axes on pyrite, these people created fire. Another evidence they have found is that people used unedible algae. They dried it, and when they rubbed it, it gave them sparks of fire. At this point, people had some control in starting fire, preserving the materials that caused fire, and carrying them around so that they could create fire wherever they want. The discovery of controlling fire became very important because men began to eat better foods. They extended their time of light. They had light in the night. Because they began to cook food, later research has shown this cooked food converted in their body to better carbohydrates that improved the development of their brains also, that improved their communication skills. Essentially, controlling fire is the first step in civilization.
Fire itself is an energy. Without the universal energy, how one can survive? Like they say, Panchatattva. All these are very, very important in a man's life.
This Subhashita talks about trying continuously and persevering until you achieve success. A recent success that we in India have seen is that of the Chandrayaan mission. Chandrayaan 2 mission failed during the launch itself, but ISRO and the government did not give up. Research has continued, scientific advances have been made, and Chandrayaan 3 was successfully launched recently on the 14th of July. Let's hope this mission succeeds entirely. The aim of the mission is to land on the south pole of the moon. This will happen sometime in August. I'm really looking forward to hearing that good news.
This Subhashita talks about fire and perseverance. The apt story that I can relate to this is about the Lakshagraha. Again, I am delving into the eternal source of inspiring stories, the Mahabharata. Duryodhana hired his architect Purochana to build an exquisite palace in lacquer at Varanavat. He asked the Pandavas to go to Varanavat to attend their local festivities. On reaching that place, when they saw this exquisite palace, the Pandavas were astounded, and at the same time they got very doubtful because this palace had no lights or fire, and everywhere only natural light and mirrors were used. Vidura, the genius, had known this all along, what Duryodhana and his aides were doing. So he had sent a trench digger to the Pandavas who told them that he would dig a tunnel from Varanavat to Ekachakranagara. He meticulously, quickly, and silently prepared the tunnel for the Pandavas' escape. When the tunnel was eventually ready, the Pandavas went into the tunnel and set fire to the palace themselves and escaped to safety. This story highlights 4 points to me. Purochana was an able architect, but he used his skills in the adharma way. Second, Vidura, the genius, was always one step ahead of the Kauravas and always tried to save the Pandavas. The third point is about the tunnel digger. We may think that his job was not important, but he, through his skills and his loyalty to Vidura, dug the tunnel in a very short time to enable the Pandavas to escape to Ekachakranagara. If not, there was a chance that the Pandavas would have been burnt in the palace. The fourth point is the all-encompassing presence of Lord Krishna. He always protected the Pandavas. In this case, it was through Vidura and the tunnel digger. Otherwise, it would have been something else. That is why he is called Pandava Pakshapati. The underlining and most important factor in this story is that all our scriptures and Puranas highlight that those who persevere in the path of Dharma always win and are always safe.
Yo virantum cheshtate. This is talking about perseverance. If you want to become a master of any art or master any skill, they say you need to put in 10,000 hours of learning, practice, reviewing, and adapting to become that master. You cannot keep on repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Very few things in our life are truly random trials. Even if you're constantly rubbing the fire stick, there's still something that is changing. And that is why you end up getting results. So, no matter what you're trying to do, whether you're acquiring a skill, whether you're taking a bet and trying out some new venture, every time you try it, you learn from the mistakes from the previous time and change something, your skill, your degree of knowledge, or some variable in the environment, so that the chances of you succeeding become more and more in each trial. If there is something where every try there's the same chance of you winning or succeeding, that is, it becomes a truly random trial, then it's not worth persevering on that front for very long. Your chances of success are going to be very low.
Perseverance is very essential to develop any skill. But the actual method of perseverance keeps changing from time to time. The example I would like to give here is when we were young students training to be surgeons, we were asked to take twine threads, put it on some rod like a cot or a back of a chair, and go on tying surgical knots, the different types of surgical knots, maybe 100, 200 knots per day, to improve our skills while operating. Now, probably that has become redundant and obsolete. The younger surgeons now who do most keyhole surgeries, they have simulated things like a pelvic trainer or whichever organ they are trying to practice the surgery, and they try to improve their hand-eye coordination by practicing on these models. The more recent ones who are doing robotic surgeries are doing all these things virtually and practicing there. So this shows that practice is necessary, but the type of practice has changed.
One more thing that becomes very evident in what you just said, Amma, is that you need to adapt with times. As you can get better tools to do a job, switch to doing the better tool so that you become more efficient. The old method may still work, but it's not efficient. So adapt, switch to a newer tool, do things more easily. We now have lighters to light our gas stoves. Hardly anybody is sitting around rubbing sticks in our homes. Even if you go out camping, there are fire starters and things which catch fire very easily. So rubbing sticks is no longer a skill that you really need to have. It's enough if you have enough implements to just start a fire. So that's it for today. Let us know what this Subhashita made you think of. What is it that you are persevering for? What is the skill that you are trying to acquire now? See you in the next episode.